Oh boy.
Exciting. So this will be
day.
a testament of our patience tonight on the Broadway Fan Club podcast. Happy day, happy technology. We got to laugh about it. I think that's what's the most important part about it. How are you doing tonight, Amber?
Well, as you know, I've had a pretty absurd day myself. I'm just gonna share with the class. This is a week of my dog sitting jobs, and apparently this job starts Wednesday, and I drove to the job today. It is about an hour away from my home. And I drove there after work, and I got there and I was like, "Hello, I'm at your house. Where's the key?" And she was like, "I'm here. I'm not gone yet." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So
you were just taking a practice run.
So I flew home. I called Heather. I was like, I will be home like the minute the podcast begins, and I will see you there. And yeah, it was a crazy day. My mom is also here visiting from Florida. She brought me this shirt from Ghost's Gravestone in St. Augustine. Shout out to spooky St. Augustine, Florida. Knew you'd like that one.
I was just on that tour last weekend.
Yeah.
I was literally just on that Ghosts and Gravestones tour weekend.
That's so funny.
Maybe your mom was on the tour with me? That would have been weird.
Maybe. That is weird. No, she was there. She was actually in St. Augustine when I was doing Paracon with Bill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a really cool little thing I dragged my mom to for the ghost tour.
Nice.
So. Well, very good. Fun. Well, it's not all about ghosts today. It is all about somebody who's been in this industry a really long time with such an incredible career, who's worked along the likes of Henry Winkler, Debbie Reynolds, everybody in between. So in between the glitches and all the fun craziness, apparently this is just going to be my computer life for a hot minute. We would love to welcome to the show the one and only Fritz Coleman.
Woo.
Let's see if we can get him on the stage here. All right.
Let me know if
Hi, ladies. I'm already a big fan of the Broadway Fan Club.
Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Are you a big fan? We're a big fan of yours.
The most fun is me having Schadenfreude.
Thanks for coming all the way from the West Coast.
I know it. It's 105.
I'm on a delay. So sorry.
It's 105 degrees today. We don't have what you have on the East Coast when it's 105 degrees and it's 105.
And I love Schadenfreude. That's a great word.
Yeah. Because I have computer glitches all the time, and it's nice to see somebody else having them. But it's all good.
I mean, if it's going to be a challenging episode, it'll be a challenging episode. Well, I live in Florida, and currently the temperature with the rain is 85. And Amber is in Connecticut, so I don't know what the temperature is there.
Connecticut. We have a nice 81. It was a high of 81 today. It's around 70 right now. It's lovely.
It's beautiful. Where in Florida, Heather?
I'm in Orlando.
Yeah. My whole family lives in Vero Beach, which is 2 hours from where you live, south of Cape Canaveral.
Oh, nice.
My whole family lives there. I'm
a native Floridian, so.
Oh, is that true? Oh,
nice.
My family moved there when they retired, as did most of the people from the Northeast, and I haven't been there in a while, but it's quite lovely.
Yeah, my mom lives there too. She did the same thing. She moved there as well, and I'm with you, Fritz. I also avoid it.
Yeah. Because it's 95 degrees and 95% humidity. Yet my mom,
she won't come visit me.
She was in her 90s, would never leave the house without a sweater. And I would say, Mom, it's 95 degrees and 95% humidity, and you're wearing a sweater. She said, well, there could be a draft. I said,
right.
That's right. You'll catch your death of cold, so go get a scarf.
My mom does that all the time.
I don't know how people can stand it. I really don't.
I'm one of those people that always runs warm.
No,
like
it's it gets too hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I can't. It could never be me. Could never be me.
That's true.
So yeah.
Uh-oh. Are we gonna?
I'm almost done.
This
almost done
gonna be
sharing
a fun
all our
groups.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Were you talking to me?
I think she was saying it's going to be a fun delayed episode, but we all spoke at the same time.
All good. I'll just take your lead.
So I'm almost done sharing to all the groups, which is usually my thing that I do at the top of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then once, that's pretty much done, we'll be able to get with things going. Have there been any Broadway shows that have kind of caught your eye lately, Fritz?
Well, I've been doing so much of my own performing that I haven't gotten to see as many, but there are so.
That usually is the case when you're
when you're a performer, you're doing the weekends too. And I can't wait to get back to New York. I want to see Oh Mary. I want to see Great. I want to see all these wonderful shows.
Yeah.
And my connection is watching the Tony Awards and salivating. But I can't wait to get back there.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in Connecticut, so I'm only a train ride away. So
give me your, if I were to fly there next weekend, because I came into a large amount of money.
Okay.
What would be your recommendations right now?
Right now, I would say Oh Mary is definitely a top one. You would have to see Oh Mary because Jinx is in it and she's just amazing.
Yeah.
I would also put I'm looking at my refrigerator of magnets right now. I would definitely put Maybe Happy Ending up there because it won so many Tonys.
Yeah.
All original story, just all original amazingness. See, so many things have closed. Death Becomes Her was absolutely phenomenal. Just the costuming,
what about the suffragette?
Can you believe we haven't seen that in almost a year?
I know. Yeah, that was, and the stuffs that should be touring soon. So that one might actually come.
Yeah, that'll come out for the Pantages in Los Angeles.
That one I think is coming your way because that national tour is launching soon. So that one will be coming your way. I think you might be seeing Water for Elephants soon. You might be seeing The Notebook soon. Great Gatsby. Yeah. There's some good ones coming.
Let me ask you: is this the first Gatsby musical? I mean, of all the manifestations in film, I'm amazed if this is the first one.
Yeah, that is very true. I'm sure there have been attempts, but I think this is the first one on actual Broadway. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I don't recall there being any other.
What about the David Mamet thing?
Yeah.
Because I'm old, the title escapes me right now, but everybody's getting all the accolades for being in at these sort of star appearances in there, like Bill Burr and a couple of those other people.
Right. Oh, I know. It's I can't think of it.
Yeah.
I can't think of it.
This is the fourth revival of this play, but it's.
Is it Glenn
Gary Glenn Ross.
I can never say it.
I am so old.
It's like a mouthful. I have too many G's in that.
How many shows do you ladies get to see? Well, Heather, do you come north? Do you do a pilgrimage to New York and do plays, Heather?
I come to New York every month, every single month.
Cool.
So I see probably 4 to 6 shows every month.
Wow, that's substantial. How about you, Amber? How many do you see?
I try to see like one a month.
Yeah, it's not
lately it's been less. Just because things have been a little bit tighter, but if I can, I try to do like one a month if possible.
Mhm.
But it's just so expensive.
It's unbelievable. And it's amazing. It's like you look at Disneyland, they keep raising the price $50 a year, yet it doesn't soften their people's enthusiasm at all. And Broadway's
No.
huge money.
Right.
And it really kind of it makes the audiences a little more selective because who can afford that? Middle and upper class people. That's it. So
well, that's why we talked about it a lot with the George Clooney
yes.
Show that was on because ticket prices were so high because he's such a high profile celebrity.
And is that because it was a limited run as well, so they can bang you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So they did, limited run, such a big name celebrity. But then they did something, completely unheard of. And they did that live stream of the production, which was absolutely incredible. So they made it, accessible to everyone. So that was.
I wondered when that happened, if that would be the opening of a door for Broadway, maybe not on CNN, but in other venues, HBO Max or something where they would, or some other streamer where they would do live theater. It seems like it would generate.
Yeah, we always try to encourage accessibility to shows 100%. That's always big and important stuff because not everyone can make it to New York.
Right.
Well, they do those satellite things, although I've never done that. I don't know how that works. Those satellite presentations as well at various theaters.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. I think Good Night and Good Luck was the first one to ever be done live streamed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, we can definitely get into it. I'm all done sharing. So let's see.
It's gonna be a fun night. We're gonna see what kind of delay it is. We should start taking a bet if everyone can say, okay, you're at a 5-second delay. It's gonna be really fun. This is like improv 101. But we have the master of that. We've got Fritz Coleman, who's on Tubi right now with Unassisted LIving. Like, I want to hear all about this project, Fritz. You've had a really unique life and career, and you've seen kind of a whole shift of what things have done. And, it's kind of a fascinating time to be alive. There's so many things that are happening at record speed. And with somebody who's had such a career like yours, 40 plus years of being on TV in LA, and I wanted to do that when I was little. And you've just had this fascinating career. Talk to us about this process of.
Well, first of all, a lot of people don't know this, but I got my job doing weather, and actually real meteorologists hate this story. I got my job doing weather for being a comic. I was working at the Comedy Store in 1982, and the news director from Channel 4, the NBC affiliate in Los Angeles, was in the audience with his wife. And I was doing a show, and in there I talked about having worked for Armed Forces Radio and Television when I was in the Navy. And part of that responsibility was doing the weather on a newscast and not knowing anything about it. But the Navy didn't seem to care that I had no credibility because, you're on a ship and what are they going to do? Fire you? It's not going to happen.
Right. Throw you overboard.
So, So, which would have been a gift, really. But so after my show was over at the Comedy Store, this man introduced himself. His name was Steve Antonetti. God rest his soul. He gave me a career. He came up to me and said, do you have any desire to come to Channel 4 and do some vacation relief and weekend weather fill in for me? I have a weekend guy and hasn't had a vacation in a year. I really need some help and you'd be great. And I said, you did hear me say I don't know anything about weather, correct? And he said, perfect. There's no weather in Southern California. This will be great. So, and oh my God, I was making $25 a night at the Comedy Store. I said, when do you want me to start? And can I carry your wife to the car? Can I do anything for you? And the guy said, well, you have to audition. So I auditioned and got the job. And I did the filling job, the utility player, for 2 years. Then I was bumped up to the main weekday weather job. And I was there 40 years. Honest to God, I always tell people it was the greatest stroke of show business luck since that woman was discovered at Schwab's Pharmacy in the 40s on Sunset Boulevard. Because, and these days I'd never get the job. These days, because climate change and everything else, you have to be a meteorologist. I am not a meteorologist. I'm a BS artist. That's all I am.
No, I love that. That's amazing. And sometimes it's, you know, you have to.
That's the best kind of artist to be, though.
Yeah.
Right place, the right time.
No, precisely. And when, you know, I told this to my own children and I've told it to other people. The only thing I brought to the table was that I was brave enough to try something that I had never considered. You know, I didn't want to be a weatherman. I didn't come out to LA to be a weatherman. I came out to be a comic. But I say, well, you know what? Being on TV in LA will have its own benefits. So I took the job, and it turned out to be a fantastic career. I hated the road because I was making no money. At my point in comedy, I was a journeyman comedian. I was a mid-level comedian. You would go on the road and work at the Giggles in Cincinnati, and I would be the middle act. You'd have an opening act, which was the MC and usually a local guy. Then you would have what's called a feature act. That was a feature act where you would do 20 minutes. Then they would bring up the headliner, which was usually somebody that had, you know, television notoriety. I had none. But the middle act, I would do 6 nights and make $600 and many times have to pay for my own transportation. It was a miserable way to make a living.
Wow.
And so when this opportunity presented itself, plus I had 2 kids, the stability of being able to give them a stable environment was amazing. So, and I still performed. Even when I was doing the weather, I was doing 3 shows a week at the Comedy Store and the Improv. So it was a win-win for me.
Right. A way to still be able to do your passion, what you wanted to do, while still balancing, you know, some responsibility in there.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. And you were able to bring, you know, some of that improv out when you were able to do the weather too, because as we knew, you know, you brought that into your on-air personality, which led you into so many of these future opportunities as well.
Playing to drunks at 1 o'clock in the morning is spectacular training for being able to improvise your way through, as we've experienced.
What's the biggest door, the weirdest door that opened for you?
Well, I got the Tonight Show. I did the Johnny Carson Show 8 times. And the talent coordinator, Jim McCauley, who was the guy that worked with the comedians, thought, wow, here's a weatherman comedian. That's kind of a cool hook. So for a couple of years, we worked on my first 6-minute set about that. And, you know, if you know comedians of my era, baby boomer comedians, that's like your comedy bar mitzvah. When you do the Johnny Carson Show, it's your introduction into show business. And it's the biggest moment of your life. It's a flash and you can barely remember it, but it's a spectacular experience. And so, you know, my weatherman avocation got me invited on the Tonight Show to do comedy. And my last line in my first set on the Tonight Show was, I'd love to stay, but I have to go upstairs and do the forecast. And the audience went nuts. They thought it was hysterical.
I love that.
I'm the beneficiary of a lot of smoking good luck in my life.
That's fantastic, though. Yeah. You know, you're the only one who's going to put it out there and do it for yourself. So
yeah, it was. I have no regrets.
Absolutely.
Some people say, "Do you feel like a sellout?" You know, because Jay Leno lived in his car, Tom Dreesen lived in his car. I never lived in my. I don't want to live in my car. I got this, you know, I made sacrifices and worked bad gigs for 2 or 3 years when I first came out here, but I don't feel like a sellout because my ability to have these 2 worlds, each benefited the other. So it was fantastic. And because people knew who I was, because I was on television every day 3 times, it got me booked easier, and I got invited to do dinner performances, and it expanded my palette a little bit.
Right, absolutely. And that's, brings us to, your next project that we were talking about a little bit before. We touched on, which I think is now on, if I'm not mistaken, Tubi, Unassisted LIving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the advent of that. About 25 years ago, I discovered an interesting format for myself, and I named it the single topic monologue. And that is, I would do one-man shows talking about one thing. My first one was called It's Me, Dad, where I talked about being a father and being divorced and coming from an alcoholic family and all those things. And it turned into a show that public television in LA, KCET, bought the show, broadcast it, and then aired it every Father's Day for 7 years in a row. It was just me talking about being a dad from a less than perfect family. And that format worked great. So I did the next one, which was about divorce, which was called The Reception. So I did a 90-minute monologue about that. Then the next one was about doing the newscast. It was called Tonight at 11. And I did that one. Then the next one-man show was my first one about getting old, called Defying Gravity. And I did that one for a couple of years. And then this one is about, here I am, I'm old. It's now a reality. Let's talk about the common experiences of being aged. So it's called Unassisted LIving, and I perform now, and my demographic is 50 plus people. And what's worked out so great about this is Netflix and all the streamers have a lot of great stand-up comics, but none have targeted like boomers and older. So I found this audience and sort of catered to them, which has turned out to be wonderful. And I work relatively clean. I don't get into politics. I just feel like people want to be taken out of their heads for an hour these days. They don't want to be reminded of the darkness of the world. And I have a selfish reason for not
it's that escape that's really important.
Yeah. I'll go home and watch the news and remember how bad things are. So my show is talking about what makes us similar, particularly people of a certain age. If you're carrying a Medicare card in your wallet, you need to come and see my show. Daily Variety said Fritz Coleman is the voice of the Metamucil generation. And I took that as a great compliment.
I think that's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Because like you said, it is such a demographic that, doesn't have that voice that has
underserved
someone. It's a very underserved community.
People like Jane Fonda and did Grace and Frankie with my sweet friend, and there are movies that sort of target an older audience, but not stand up in any way. And all the stands up are very funny, but there are segments of an older audience that need to have, I don't want to see less edge, but you can't drop too many F-bombs in a row because you lose their attention. So it's just a different thing. So I've sort of found this little niche audience. Yeah. I'm having a great time. And where I'm doing the show now is the El Portal Theater in North Hollywood. I have a residency there. We're doing it once a month, and we're coming up on the second anniversary, and we're very happy. We're getting audiences every week. It's every month. It's fantastic.
That's amazing. And I just feel like,
and there's a specific reason you picked that venue.
That venue has always been my home. First of all, it's a mile from my house, and I lean a lot on convenience. So
perfect.
And it's great. And they have two theaters in there. They have a 365 seat performance space with bank seats. And then I'm in the smaller one called the Marilyn Monroe Forum, which is 100 seats in a semicircle. They call it the Marilyn Monroe Forum because Marilyn Monroe went to elementary school right across the parking lot. So they thought to honor her, they would name their theater that. The main stage is called the Debbie Reynolds stage because this theater, the El Portal Theater, is 100 years old. When it started, it was a vaudeville house. People like Red Buttons and Bob Hope performed there in vaudeville. Then it became a movie palace. And Debbie Reynolds, pardon me? Yeah, Debbie Reynolds was born and raised in Burbank.
It's such a history.
Yeah. Debbie Reynolds was born and raised in Burbank, which is right next door. And when she was 10 years old, she used to ride her bike to the El Portal to watch movies. And then when she became famous, she would work out her Vegas shows and her live performances on that stage. So they named it the Debbie Reynolds stage. So the El Portal is a very historic place. And I love theaters with a lot of history.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, like you said, a mile away from home. You can't go wrong with that.
I can still be getting dressed on my way over there.
That's a hop, skip, and a jump away, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, you know, what we were saying about the market just in general being just under, you know, not having enough accessibility for that topic. It's also, it seems like it's a different approach. You know, people tend to want to approach it more of like I don't want to say complaint section of like getting older, but you're approaching it more from the comedy side of it. And I feel
more
like
of an aggressive attack.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
What I do is I point out the similarities in everybody that have the gift of getting old. I don't whine about it. As a matter of fact, I have a little 5-minute riff at the end that says the great thing about getting old is you get more grateful all the time. So I go through a list of things. It's not about that. I want them to have, at the end of it, I want them to feel like we're all in this thing together.
Together, exactly.
And then they can
we all do it.
And then they can go home and watch 60 Minutes and be crushed after that. But, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the show's at 3:00 in the afternoon because my demographic likes to be home by dark.
Right. And they got to make the early bird dinner special.
There it is right there. Blue Plate Comedy. That's me.
I love it.
Tell us a little bit about what unassisted living means to you.
It just means that you face it with strength. I'll tell you, the whole topic came to me because my father was a salesman for a major company, right? Like he was Willie Loman, but funnier. And, but he was the classic post-World War II businessman where his entire identity was his work. He didn't read books. He didn't go to movies. He watched TV, you know, and after Wheel of Fortune, he was in bed. And he was also a heavy drinker. And when he retired, I just watched him slowly implode. He had no place to spend his energy and, you know, to keep his brain active. And when he was too old to do his yard work, that was the end of everything. And I was so afraid. I said, oh, I hope this isn't an hereditary trait. And I was so worried. My life is nothing like that. I am busier now than I was when I was employed. I'm performing a lot. I'm on the board of directors of 3 nonprofit organizations. My life is full in the best of all possible ways. So unassisted living means I'm old, but I don't need help. And I'm just trying to live every moment and share myself. Plus, I have this discussion with my children. I have 3 adult children. And they're feeling, I don't want to get political, but they're feeling helpless these days. You know, what can we do? I mean, our vote is okay, but I feel like we're losing control of this democracy. What can I do? And I say, you can't do anything. You can vote. You can be active. You can make a poster and go stand in a corner and yell if you want. That'll make you feel better. But what you can do is do things for other people. You can get involved in a nonprofit. You can help with a homeless. I'm involved with a homeless mandate in downtown Los Angeles. There's no bigger problem in our quality of life issue in Southern California right now. So just do something to help somebody else have a more comfortable life. And that's what I think. I think that's the service that comedians supply right now. It's a steam valve. It's a chance to remind us of what brings us together, because my comedy is the comedy of pointing out similarities. And so if that's what we need, as opposed to advertising what drives us apart, this chasm socially and politically. There are enough things reminding us about that. Talk about what brings us together. That's what I do for people of a certain age.
Yeah, that's amazing. Absolutely. That reminds me of, you know, a lot of the stories I heard about, this is another terrible tragedy, about post 9/11, and about how people just wanted to laugh again, and they wanted those comedy shows, that they wanted just to go to comedy shows in the city again, and comedy shows were so popular at that time.
It was a boost. Absolutely.
A boost.
Did you live in Connecticut? Did you live in Connecticut when 9/11 occurred?
I did, but I was in 8th grade.
Okay, yeah, but it still was a horrible experience for your family and those around you, I'm sure. Man.
Yes, it was. It was definitely a very bizarre experience. I also went to a Catholic school, so the way they handled it was very weird. Like, they didn't tell us anything about it.
Wow.
So I didn't know anything happened until I got home from school at 4:00. Very weird.
Yeah. Wow.
And then just a bizarre experience. But I just remember, seeing lots of things as an adult about it, and just remembering people just telling about how they wanted, to go to those comedy shows, and they wanted to connect with people again, and they just wanted to laugh, because laughter just brings people together.
It's interesting that you bring that up. It's interesting that you bring that up, because I think that was
good endorphins.
Yes,
right.
That was the start of it. Because that was the day that shattered our sense of safety, I think, in America. So you had that, and then you had the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Then you had the pandemic. Now you have dicey politics. And so people have many, many reasons to feel disconnected. So I think, and it's not just about comedy, it's about theater as well, which is this communal experience. And even though we have all the streaming and everything, I'm praying that live performance stays valid, because there's that tribal communal thing of being out and experiencing something with your neighbors and friends. And when you leave there, even if you don't talk to people, you still have this common experience, and you're sort of drawn together in a.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
It's that experience, that special moment of sitting in a room with somebody who you experience something together in a unique format, and then you're able to share that kind of energy. And it's just this magic that needs to be celebrated. It's so important.
And it will never happen that way ever again.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
You might be in a different mood, or, had a different thing to eat for lunch, or got a phone call, or, it was cold, it was hot, but it's such a special magic moment of it. So that's an addictive drug to experience that, for sure.
No, I agree. I stream a lot of movies and TV shows because there's too much to watch and there's too much to miss. But for a really good movie that I was looking forward to, I still like to go to a theater, because I love to hear the reaction. For instance, Friday night, I saw the new Spike Lee movie, which was very good. And I was not a big fan of the original, the Kurosawa movie, but it was great. Just the smell of popcorn, everything about it, everything was fantastic. It was a full theater, and it's exciting, and I don't know. I hope live performance never goes away.
I agree. I totally agree. There's just, we call it,
if it goes away, Amber and I are going to start putting on our own shows.
There's something holy about it, it's there's just something almost moving and otherworldly about it.
Yep.
For sure. But and I think, shows like your show, Unassisted Living, It's Me, Dad, and I think, these different types of shows that reach different people are the ones that are needed so much right now, because, different types of people are looking for that connection. So, we need people like you to keep making those amazing one-man shows to keep reaching different people, different demographics.
I think so. And another thing is driving a wedge between us is social media. People don't relate in the way they used to.
Right.
And if you think,
why we created the Broadway Fan Club, though.
Say that again.
Really, we've created this community platform that we embrace the fans, and we try to break down that fourth wall where people can meet up with people to go to theater shows or comedy shows or restaurants, or have a unique conversation with someone they may have not have met.
I think you provide a great service. and it's very important. But you're not doing it via Twitter, so
right.
Call it this way.
X these days, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, now I'm very interested in like the creative process always. What is like your kind of go-to for shaping like a new joke or new skit or anything? Do you like to kind of workshop it like live in front of an audience? Are you like a pen and paper kind of guy? Do you like tell it to your cat? I don't know if you have a cat.
And my cat's the best audience, you know.
Yeah.
He may not laugh, but he doesn't reject me, which is the key to everything.
Right, exactly.
No, I'm a very disciplined writer. I write for an hour or two every day.
Okay.
Even if I have nothing on my mind, I love the physical act of sitting down with a legal pad and a pen in the same spot every day and see if I can come up with something. Some days I come up with something, some days I don't. Other times I can write something and it seems funny to me, and then I'll put it away for a little while, and I'll revisit it in a week or two. And if it still holds water with me, then I know I've got something that I've got to work on. And I'll fashion. Mm-hmm. I'm not a joke teller with a setup punchline. I tell stories. I use metaphor. I use exaggeration.
That's my favorite kind of comedy, is that story-based driving force.
Yes, people love stories. And that's kind of the way I work. I love the discipline of writing. I actually find the creating of material almost as satisfying as the performing it. But you always have to do it in front of an audience, because you can say, I'm really brilliant. This is what an amazing piece of material. But it ain't brilliant until you get it out in front of a live audience and find out, and then you'll know. And it's, I don't know if you saw the Jerry Seinfeld movie, The Comic or The Comedian, where after his show became famous, he threw out all his material and went back on the road to fashion new material. And there's some great passages in there about how it's such a mystery. You can be convinced that you have a bona fide hit piece of material, and you get out and nobody responds to it. And you try it 2 or 3 times and it just doesn't work. And it's magic. It's depressing magic. And so you just never know. And sometimes people
have you had a major flop or a major success?
Oh, everybody tanks once in a while, because there are forces at work that are out of your control. You know, a theater with poorly functioning air conditioning, people that there's just, I know you've seen it in theater. There's just a vibe that permeates the room. And if before a comedy show, you can almost guess how receptive the audience is going to be by the pre-show hum, you know, and it's funny. So, you know, if you have a solid piece of material that's worked fairly consistently for a couple of months or a year or so, and it becomes part of your catalog, if that doesn't work, then it's the audience and not you.
I love that.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, has your process evolved at all, where like you have started maybe, you know, like writing in a certain way, and now you kind of have like a different kind of style or anything that it's just kind of like changed over the years that you've noticed kind of?
Well, my style has not changed, but I've trusted myself more. For instance, as you get older, when you're starting out, you'll try a couple of lines on stage and hope that they work. But now I'm not afraid to go up there and lay out a 3 to 5 minute block of material and see if there's anything there. It might not be perfect. It might not get all the laughs you want or the laughs in the right place, but you can tell by the audience reaction that there's something there, and you'll go home and work it. So I'm braver now than I was when I was early, because I'm old and you can't get me now. There's nothing you can do to hurt me. So I just, I'm not afraid to experiment a little bit more.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's
We do have a couple of questions in our chat. Cheyenne says, During your appearances on The Tonight Show, did you get called to the couch? And
Never.
were there any up-and-comers? Never. And were there any up-and-comers you saw at either the Comedy Store or Improv that you knew would become a huge star?
That's a great, I'll answer the second question first. I worked at the Comedy Store when Jim Carrey first came down from Toronto. And we just knew that he was going to be a star, because if you ever watched his stand-up act, it was not all funny. It was almost like performance art. It was physical performance pieces. He did this one where he interpreted Henry Fonda in Own Golden Pond, which would make you cry. It was so beautifully done. But he was like 16 years old when he started at the Comedy Store. And you always know somebody's going to be big if the waiters and the busboys and the staff stop to watch, because they're not impressed by anything. They've been listening to comedy every single night.
Right.
And when Jim Carrey would go on stage, it was kind of like Robin Williams. Everything would come to a halt, and everybody in the room's attention was drawn toward the stage, even people that worked there. The grizzled old veterans of the club would watch. So I knew he was going to be big. I also was in the Comedy Store, not performing, or not on the same stage, but in another stage, the night that Whoopi Goldberg was being seen by Steven Spielberg and Mike Nichols to be cast for The Color Purple. And she had as her opening act Bobcat Goldthwait. I don't know if you remember him. He was a very odd.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was Bobcat Goldthwait, and then Whoopi went up and did her one-person show that had been off Broadway and had been in a theater for years up in San Francisco. And you would watch her on stage, and it's not the performance itself isn't everything. It's how the audience reacted to her. You said, she's in. Whatever she's here for, she's in. And it was Mike Nichols and Steven Spielberg, and George Lucas was there, and Richard Pryor, and all these people there to watch her. And she had them in the palm of her hand. You knew that she was going to be a big star.
That's so
cool. I was fly on that wall. That sounds incredible.
Mm-hmm. And to answer the other question, I never got called to the couch. That's a great discovery process for new comedians. But I had been on TV doing the weather in LA, and Johnny knew who I was. And so it wasn't that magical. I'm going to launch this guy and blow air under his wings. And so I never got it. But it didn't soften my enthusiasm for having performed there.
And you're still here performing, and some of these guys have retired. And is there anything that really keeps you driven? Like what's that drive behind you that keeps you going? You're such an entertainer, but you're a genuinely kind soul. And there's got to be something that really drives you besides just making them laugh.
I think the umbrella emotion is I have to be active.
Sure.
I have to keep myself moving. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm not comfortable in my own skin or what that is, but I love to work. I love to perform. I love to reach out and do these nonprofit jobs. I have had such amazing luck. You know, to have a career in broadcasting for 40 years is not going to happen anymore. Broadcasting is changing. And so I know this sounds dramatic, but I just have no problem giving back because I've been the recipient of a lot of good luck. Anyway.
No, that's very cool. I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like a moment that stands out either in comedy, broadcasting, that is like one of like your proudest moments of your career?
Well, in the old days, and by the old days, I mean like 15, 20 years ago, the station used to send the entire news team to the Olympics. It was like 100 people. And we would go to the Olympics because NBC's had the Olympics for many years. And we would do the news over there for 3 weeks. And it was so much fun. And we got to go to the Seoul, Korea Olympics, which was mind-blowing. Cool. It's a great experience. And we also got to go to the Atlanta Olympics. And if you remember the tragedy that happened toward the end of the Atlanta Olympics, the bomb went off. Well, in Centennial Park, where that bomb went off, that's where we did our news broadcasts. And in order for you to be able to, in order for you to be able to broadcast out of that venue, you had to use what was called fiber optic cable because of security reasons. They wouldn't let you do microwave or satellite because, there are 165 nations in this venue. So they had these 6 fiber optic locations around Centennial Park. So one night I was doing the weather. Every night I do it from a different spot. And it was 2:00 in the morning, East Coast time, because it was Atlanta, playing back to the 11 o'clock news in LA, and it was a live broadcast. So I did my weather from this one location, and we finished the newscast and walked back to this Quonset hut where the news team was housed when the Centennial Park bomb went off, right under a bench, literally 10 steps from where I had just done the weather. And the cameraman, who was my weatherman, my cameraman, was the first guy to get video of this bomb explosion and the injuries and the lady that died. Ooh. And so he was the only guy that got this video. And they wouldn't let cars or anybody in and out at this point. And our main network location was about 1.5 miles away. They wouldn't let.
Oh my God, you have to walk?
No, so here's what happened. I took his videotape that he shot of all these injured people and jogged all the way back to the network starting spot so that we have video. And we were up all night doing live shots for German television, Portuguese television, because we were right there when this bomb went off. And it was harrowing and so scary. But the fascinating point about this story is that the next day, we would go out in Olympic Village, and you'd meet all these people from other countries, and they're not in the least bit fazed by this bomb. And I said, there was a bunch of people that were almost killed last night. I mean, are you not afraid of that circumstance? And they say, we come from countries where bombs go off every day. This is nothing. If you're still walking around after the bomb goes off, just press forward. I thought, wow, it was such an eye-opening experience to learn that. I mean, we Americans are really spoiled, as particularly at that point, because that was pre 9/11 and all the other stuff, of how safe we're used to living in this country. So it was fascinating. So that was one. But I'll give you a warmer, great experience in my career. Like the second or third time I was on the Tonight Show, the comedian, if you think of the show starting at 11:30 and going to 12:30, the comedian always came in that middle spot between the headliner, which went from like 10 of 12 to 10 after, and then you'd have a comic, and then you'd have a musical or a sort of a novelty act to close the show out. Back, at the end of the show where the ratings didn't matter as much. So the night I was doing this show, Linda Ronstadt was the headliner. She was going to be on from 10 minutes of 12 to 10 after. And I'm a pacer. If I'm nervous, I'm walking around and I'm saying my lines to myself. And I was pacing around backstage, and Linda Ronstadt's over in the corner getting ready to be introduced. And she saw me being really nervous, and she came up and said, "Are you the comedian tonight?" I said, "Yes." She said, "How you feeling?" I said, "Oh, I'm being my normal self." She said, "You look so shaken." I said, "Well, I'm always a little nervous." And so she put her arms around me and didn't say anything and just hugged me for like 60 seconds. And it was the most maternal thing that had ever happened to me. It took all the nerves out of my body. I never saw her again, but I thought, what a lovely person. It was so beautiful and touching, and it really did make me relax. It was so funny.
That's such like a kind moment, such like a real human moment. Yeah.
I've loved her. Other people that have worked with her. She dated Jim Carrey for a while. Mm-hmm. And she would come to the Comedy Store and sit in the back and watch him. And I never met her, but I'd heard from people that dealt with her there that she was a lovely person, and she really is a great spirit. So talented, but a great spirit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Incredible. That's so nice. Mm-hmm. Would you say that I would consider your career to be successful. You've, had many.
Several Emmys. Come on,
Emmys, absolutely. Yeah. Would you define your career as successful, and would you say your definition of success has changed over time?
That's a good question. I would say that I have been successful in that I was employed for 40 years. I'm doing what I love to do. I have a reason to get up in the morning to write and perform, and I'm just doing what I love to do. I mean, there is nothing else. I'm a divorced person. I have 3 children and 2 grandchildren. So, and I made a reasonable amount of money where I can retire comfortably, not wealthy. I've been so lucky, and I've realized how little it takes for me to be happy. Physical goods don't mean anything to me. When I was divorced, I lost my house. I lost a lot of things, but I realized at that point, I have everything I need. I have myself and I have the love of my children. I do what I like to do. And now I've downsized to an apartment, and honest to God, I've never been happier in my life than I am right now.
I love that. Absolutely. And I feel like people, like we measure success in so many different ways.
Yes.
Very materialistic ways. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And like I myself personally, I find myself to be in such a different position than where I thought I was going to be 10 years ago. And I never thought I would be as successful as I am right now. So like and my definition has absolutely changed and evolved over those 10 years. So I can only imagine
a lot of stuff.
You guys are successful for all the reasons we talked about earlier, and that is you're drawing people together. You're finding something that people have in common. You're nurturing that and giving them the voice to communicate with you. I mean, in this odd world, really, that's all we can offer is a gathering place for people of like mind.
Right. Yeah. I think that's important. Now you just have to teach us how to make good jokes so we can have our own comedy special.
I'm sure that's a lot of work. Anyway.
Well,
yes. And I will tell you, so Jeffrey Cohen has given me one of the greatest compliments. Look at this. Jeffrey Cohen says, "You're not a Broadway, Fritz, but you are a great guest." And I think we can absolutely
I'd love to be on Broadway or off Broadway or just go to a Broadway show.
That's right. I think you deserve to be.
I appreciate that.
I think there's an off-Broadway show here somewhere.
Yeah. My friend did an off-Broadway. I have 2 friends that did an off-Broadway.
To do a movie or
no. I love the live performance.
I'm on that delay again.
Yeah. No, I have 2 friends that did off-Broadway. Kathy Buckley, who is a hearing impaired comedian, and she started her career. Do you know Kathy? She started her career doing sort of inspirational talks to children who were hearing impaired. But she's so funny. She made a 1-person show out of this and went to Broadway and did it for like a year, or off Broadway and did it for a year, and it was spectacular. And then I had a friend called Monica Piper, who I still work with, who had an off Broadway show called Not Jewish Enough, and it was hysterical.
Yeah, I know that show. Yeah.
So I have had friends who have had that experience, and it's pretty cool.
That's incredible. Well, now people can go see you at your show. You just opened.
We're celebrating our second anniversary in October. El Portal Theater. And you can go to elportaltheater.com. It's on Lankershim Boulevard in North Hollywood. It's the historic El Portal Theater, which is celebrating its 100th year in existence this year. My next show is September 28th, and then October 26th, and then November 30th. Mm-hmm. Go to the website and get a ticket. And if you meet me and found out, look at that, and I find out that you heard about this show on Broadway Fan Club, I will buy you dinner.
Oh,
what?
Look at that.
All right, yeah. Amber, let's pack our bags and go to California.
We're going to California.
I will buy you dinner.
We're going. Pack it up. Yeah, that's it.
You heard it. Fritz is buying everybody that goes and attends the show.
I was just
August 24th, you already missed only 3 more chances to get free dinner.
So I'm looking at Fritz right now, and I'm trying to think of like who I would cast to play Fritz in a Broadway musical about Fritz. Right.
Well, I'll tell you who I've been mistaken for. If you squint and have bad eyesight, and stand across the street. I've been mistaken for Ted Danson. Not so much anymore.
Okay.
I have the facial
I can see it.
But the hair
I could
color.
see David Letterman a lot, though.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Yeah.
Without the weird.
He looks like Rip Van Winkle now. Yeah.
You know who I'm gonna put out there? I'm gonna say Terrence Mann should play Fritz.
Ooh.
Who is that? Tell me who that is. I can't remember.
He is like a famous Broadway guy. He was in Cats. He was in Les Mis. He's like top notch.
I got Deuteronomy written all over me.
Yeah,
Alan Steele, founder of Broadway Podcast Network, says Mark Kudish should play Fritz. So.
Who's Mark?
There you go. The all almighty powerful Alan Steele said that.
Oh,
love that.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah. Terrence is
Mark
also Brother
Kudish,
Dustin Foundation.
Floyd
Yes.
Collins. Yeah.
All right.
Let's see if I can find
I've been thinking about this one all episode, Heather. You're going to be really proud of this. Oh, okay. I see it.
Way too handsome to play me. He'll have no credibility playing me and being that handsome.
I have a really good wrap-up question that is
please.
That is in the style of Heather. I've been like for weeks trying to think of a Heather level question to compete with your Heather level question, and I think
he's not getting many Heather levels with my technological difficulties.
I think I finally got
I can't wait to hear this.
Heather has a question. Well, Heather has a question she asks all of our guests, so she'll ask you, I'm sure. But my question that I'm workshopping is, if your younger self could meet you today, what do you think would surprise them the most about you?
Ooh.
That's a great question.
I like it.
They would be surprised that I'm as relaxed as I am, because when I was young, I was like nervous, as I said, and off the chain, scrambling all the time. And I would look at them and I would say, see, if you just take a deep breath, it all gets better over time.
You know, my roommate, Heather knows him well, is very neurotic. And like whenever anything goes wrong, well, yeah, just from like she knows how neurotic he is. And anytime anything goes wrong, anytime anything goes wrong, I'm always like, let's all calm down. Like freaking out is not going to make the situation better. Like let's deal with it calmly, because if we're freaking out while we deal with it, it's not going to make it easier. It's only
you're a good life coach.
I try.
Yes. Yes. All right. Let's see if I could work through the delays here, because I know we're
to ask your question. Yeah.
Wrapping up to see if I can get the Heather question out there. So my infamous question. Yes. My infamous question, Fritz, is what is a question that you've always wanted to answer but have never been asked?
God, that's another great question.
And what is your answer?
I
know. Thank you.
How does it feel to be so fabulous? No, let me think. I can't answer that.
I like that.
That's voguing. Very good. Gosh, that's such a great question. You should have warned me about that ahead of time. I would have come up with a pithy answer. But
that's why we throw it right at you.
I must say, I've been asked a lot of different questions on various podcasts and things, and you've asked some great questions and made me feel very comfortable. I can't think of one right now. And that's not to besmirch your question. It's just that I'm not fast enough to think about that.
Yeah, no. It's
that's okay too.
A good question.
That's okay too. Because you know what, Fritz? We'd love to have you back on the show whenever you'd like, because you are
that's very nice. I can't wait to find out if anybody comes to my show that heard this and I went broke paying for their dinners, and then I'll be happy to come back on. And from the Salvation Army Mission House, I'll I'll be thanking you for bringing people to my show.
Yes. Well, don't you worry. Besides going live on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, we're also on the Broadway Podcast Network. And the best part is, Fritz, and this is something you don't know, this will be our very first official show migrated over to the network because we finally have access. So you are our opening act and the best way to start it.
I hope people
no pressure.
That there'll be even better things to come. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you so much.
You do a great job.
Yes, we've been working hard towards. You're wonderful. I'm sorry that there were so many technological delays on my end, but
you know what that does? That takes the edge
we'd love
off.
to have
That's like a hug from Linda
back. But yes, so let's give a shout out again your show and the dates. So we have
elportaltheater.com.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna put that on a shirt.
The next show is September 28th and October 26th. If you go to El Portal Theater
28th
and October 26th, if you go to their website, they have a lot of great productions there, but you'll see all the dates and how to get tickets, elportaltheater.com. And I would love to meet you.
And you also have one on November 30th. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And stream Unassisted Living on Tubi. So maybe Netflix or something will pick it up. Like
that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
That'd be so cool.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
And
then if there's anybody
this performance may be the thing that tilted it in my favor.
I think so.
I mean, let's keep tilting. Let's keep going.
There we go.
But yes, on Tubi, 100%. I'm gonna, as soon as we go off, I think Amber and I are gonna do a watch party of it. So
yeah,
I'm really excited. It's great, but you've been so delightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies. I really enjoyed it.
You have such an infectious, in the best way possible, like behavior and energy, and I wish that's what we strive for.
That's very nice. But I wish you great success in your expanding universe, and you're expanding because you deserve it, and that's just awesome.
Thank you.
That's so sweet. And Amber and I will come see you in California for that free dinner. So.
Well, seriously, if you come out here, because you're going to watch like an equity waiver production with 60 seats in West Hollywood or something, I'll take you out to dinner.
All right,
sounds like a plan.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you again so much, Fritz.
Okay,
thank you to everybody for joining us on the Broadway Fan Club. Have a good night. Don't forget, Broadway start on Monday, so keep the ghost. Yeah, but we appreciate you guys and have a good night. And we'll figure out the weird technological stuff. Amber, I'll call you. Everybody have a great night. See you.
I'm just getting closer and closer to the router here.
I'll call you in a minute. Okay, bye everybody. Have a good rest of your week.